Okay, lab number 8 now. We just finished lab 7. Moving to lab 8, dealing with a lucite delay. Here's the lucite delay we're going to use. I've already got it hooked up to the scope. I left all the settings the same from lab 7. We're just going to go through and change them to what we need for lab 8. So, first thing we want to do, which I kind of messed up on lab 7, was change from dual on to dual off. Okay? Go back to our base menu. Half-inch range is good. We're still playing with steel. Display delay. We're going to take our probe delay all the way back to 0 again. Okay? So now we're back to 0. We've got a big, huge signal here as an initial pulse. I'm going to bring it down a little bit. Bring it down to about 10 dB. Still got a bunch of trash going on. But what we're really concerned with is finding the end of this lucite. So we need to go delay, display delay or probe delay. Either way, it's fine. So I'm just taking my probe delay, moving it out here. Okay, there's where we started. Okay, it'll start moving pretty fast, so we're just moving out. It looks like we're getting somewhere. Okay, so if I just touch the end of this, there it is. That's not a very clean signal, so if we give it some gain, what does it look like? About 25 dB, still not that clean, so let's see if we can clean it up a little bit. Went to my pulsar menu, turn the power down a little bit. Okay, turn it to low damping. Go high power, that's a little cleaner. Go receiver. Let's change our frequency here. We're on a 5 megahertz, so that cleans it up quite a bit. 0.8 to 8 is pretty clean. 2 to 20 is alright. I like 0.8 to 8 about the best. That's going to let us bring our gain down a little bit. So back to our base menu. Okay, so now that's our edge of our lucite, still on a half-inch range. That's going to be our new initial pulse. So we push him over here, right to edge of the screen, right there. Grab a little couplet, put it down on our block. I grabbed a new step wedge. Okay, just got a new step wedge here. 1/10 of an inch steps. Okay, so you see that walk, you know there's something going on there. Okay, so we got something. There's some more. Oh, lose a little coupling there. Alright, really not too bad. 80, pretty close to 100. Okay, so if we go here, 1/10 of an inch. Okay, 1/10 of an inch step. We should see these signals. Let's zoom in here. We should see these signals right at 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100% on the screen. So I'm on my delay. I'm just going to push the delay over just a little bit. And that helped line things up quite a bit. But I'm going to take my velocity and bring them in just a little bit more. Pretty close right there. So there's 1/10 of an inch. 2/10 of an inch. We're not quite on right there. A little ahead. Alright, so we can take our velocity, move them back out a little bit. Okay, so there's 1/10. Okay, there we are. That's better. And we're still pretty close right there. So 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100. There's 2/10 of an inch coming up at 40 and 80%. 3/10 coming up at 60%. 4/10 coming up at 80%. And then a half-inch there coming up at 100%. So if we back out, take a look at these parts again. Okay, here's our parts. This was part number 1 from lab 7. I'm just as a reference here, kind of coming back in. There's our signal coming up right about 18%. I think that's pretty close to what we had last time. About 18% of a half-inch. Here's part number 2 coming up about 12 or so. Part number 3 coming up right about 40%, but just barely, so let's give it some more gain. Run it up to about 30 dB. Put a little more couplet. Okay, here's part number 1 again. We'll go over here to part number 3. Right there about 40%. Okay, so we know he's pretty close to 2/10 of an inch or so. But we want to know separate parts for this lab. Okay, so here's going to be our new part number 1 right here. Looks like a little piece of angle iron. If we back out, you can see it. Okay, just a little piece of angle iron. Nothing real special. Then our part number 2 is going to be a weld plate we've got down here. Okay, weld plate we've used in a previous lab. And then part number 3 is going to be a mystery piece. And you can tell me what the thickness of the mystery piece is. Well, you're going to have to tell me the thickness of all 3, but makes it a little more interesting that way. So here's part number 1. Okay, let's get zoomed in here so you can see where it's coming up on the screen. Show you. Actually have the transducer on part number 1. Get back in there so you can see it. I'm not going to tell you what I see. I want you to see if we come up with something very similar. Okay, part number 1. Now we go to part number 2. There's part number 2 right there. I'm not going to tell you again what I see, but I will tell you that this is a 50% screen width and that's 60% screen width, so that'll help you maybe. And then, just so you know, that's part number 2. Alright, part number 3 here. If I had some couplet, there it is, just right there. Give it just a little more couplet. Might have to give it some more gain. There it is. Coming up right there. Coming up at about 96%. Alright, so last time here, part 1. Got huge gain now, so let's run it back down to 30 where we were. There we go. Part 2. And then part 3. I had to give it some more gain for part 3. Alright, good luck.